George Lucas.
For what?
That's just how we end the show. Me thanking people.
Got it. So now that we ended the regular show, it's time.
Well, now it would be time for, I believe they call it the... If it doesn't end in the next 30 seconds, I could see it going for hours. And now we're in the after show.
And now we're in the after show.
And it's as graceful as that. It's a flawless system that we've instituted to make the YouTube videos seem like they have a clear point of distinction. Although it's all one show. This is all the George Lucas Talk Show. But when we have to
now
it out for the archive.
This mug is broken now too.
Oh no.
What is that?
It's my mug, but it's broken. I was drinking out of it earlier and now it's broken.
Why don't you have a mother? You mentioned your father in the story, and that mug makes me wonder.
Well, no. I mean, that was a fictional comic strip. My parents are the staff of ILM.
Oh. So
I forgot there was a sandwich in this.
Oh.
Why do you keep doing this?
Because you didn't take the bait, Pat the Rat. You went off onto a new line of questioning. I forgot that I actually put my water in a third cup.
Okay.
It's a tiki secret.
Oh, that's good. Do you want to try to drink from that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a secret, Watto. If you want Patrick to take the bait, you have to make it out of cheese.
I hate this.
This one actually just has water.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But here's the fun fact. Now my straw tastes really bad.
That's what happens.
Is what happens. It truly is what happens.
Truly is what happens.
Put the straw in a sandwich.
Ooh, you know, I have to say.
Wow. Hang on, George. We got some more fan art. Let me show this really quick.
That's exciting.
This is from Orwis. This is the wrong Missy drawn in the Heliopolis style.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
And I don't believe that anyone has done an official comics adaptation yet of any of the Happy Madison.
I don't think so.
That's a good universe. That's a rich universe for a series of children's books.
It used to be. Well, you could make comics for adults as well. It used to be that. When a big movie would come out, there'd be an official comics adaptation often, and
yes.
And I don't feel like we've had any of that. Right? We've never had an official comics adaptation, have we, of any of the Sandler produced films?
No, I think not one.
I do want to say
a Little Nicky video game.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Sarah Club for this. This is good.
Well done.
Wow! And so now you have won an award.
Now I have won an award. Thank you, guys.
Will you be updating your resume to say that you won the Frozen Sausage Award?
Sure. If you'd like me to put that in there, sure.
Do you think that's a competitive award or non-competitive?
Frozen. I mean, who else would be on it?
I don't know.
It's me and Jimmy Dean.
Come back to the fight.
Hey guys, I should say this now. There's a button down below.
There's a button down below.
That says
There's a button down below.
That says support the show. It's very
that says support the show.
There's a button down below that says support the show. There's a button down below that says support the show. There's a button down below that says support the show. There's a button down below that says support the show. There's a button down below that says support the show. There's a button down below that says support the show. There's a button down below that says support the show. Deep down below, a button you may know.
No.
What does it say? It says support the show. Now, music by myself and Watto, but lyrics 100% by Pat the Rat, Mr. Patatouille himself. This is like Hal David and Bacharach. This is a two men write the music, one man wrote the lyrics. You didn't even know you were writing a song. You thought we were interfering, but I guarantee you more people will be donating as a result of that song.
I hope so.
My goodness, I want to donate to support the show.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the show. When I hear that song, what caused you to rhyme that couplet, Patrick?
I mean, it wasn't on purpose.
Back.
It wasn't on purpose.
Back, Patrick.
All right, let me think.
Behind the music.
First, I did say there's a button down below, which I'm not sure is true. I think the button is actually sideways. I think
Print the legend. Print the legend. Although you may have cost us a lot of donations with that, Patrick.
Well, I think the button is actually closer than where I thought it was.
But everybody, Patrick, they're all down. They're all looking for the button. They're down below, Patrick. They're all looking. Where's the button? Where's the button?
It's in.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the button is actually to George's left.
Mm-hmm.
And I also believe that in the process, you have essentially shadow banned donations by telling people to look down below. You
right.
Donations.
There's a button to the side if you enjoy the ride. There's a chyron down below that says support the show. So now we have a song that makes sense, despite Patrick's efforts to sabotage the show by intentionally misdirecting our viewers who would be looking for hours, who knows, for days for a button down below. Where is it? Where's the button?
Where's the button? It says support the show.
I don't see it.
Support the show.
It's the pink one at the top of the chat.
That's a button?
Yeah, it's a button.
That's a button? It's a horizontal, it's a long rectangle.
Yeah, you can click on it. Watch. Whoever is doing that, click on it.
That's not what I think of as a button. That looks like a panel.
On Twitch, it is below, according to Ricky Barty. Ricky Barty says there's a button down below on Twitch. So, but let me say, it's very important and helpful to us, to the people behind the scenes. There's a lot of people behind the scenes. It gets split up throughout all of us, and it really helps keep the show going.
What are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here?
What are we trying to do here?
I'm just asking for some support for the show. Is that okay?
But why? Why? Because we're trying to keep the lights on.
Wow, Watto got a new light. We're trying to keep the lights on. So we appreciate it. At $1,
we're trying to keep the lightsaber.
We're trying to keep the candles lit.
We're trying to keep the light song. There's a button down below that says support the show.
There's a... If you feel so inclined to donate $1, $5, $4, it's very helpful. Thank you, guys.
Become a $4 friend. All you have to do to become a $4 friend, donate $4.
Yeah.
Keep the lights on.
You're a $4 friend. I'll say this, because it is helpful. Today, I spent a lot of money on our Studio 60 watch-along. And it's very helpful for things like that.
At the same time, I'm not sure that we want to enable that kind of habit.
No.
Spending a lot of money?
Well, your addiction to Studio 6 merchandise, which, Patrick, is not a thing.
What can I share?
What could you have bought? What could you have bought?
Patrick, may I
You
share?
didn't even acknowledge my new piece of merchandise.
Strange Magic poster.
An actual British cinema poster for the release of Strange Magic.
Hey, Watto set up some Watto merch in the background because a viewer sent Watto the Star Wars edition N64. This was a mint condition Star Wars edition N64, and you can't make it out without me holding it very close. But if you look there on the box, there's a little Watto.
Oh, look at him.
There's a shadow Watto.
The shadows, hiding in the shadows. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending that to me.
There's a button down below that says support the show. If you give a little dough, the show can grow and grow. What a song we're writing together.
Patrick, can I share a little anecdote? And I will do so while removing the details that could spoil future plans.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
I pitched something potentially for a future installment of the George Lucas talk show. And you said that would be a $300 bid.
Oh, yes.
And then Watto...
This is a little glimpse behind the scenes.
Watto literally just immediately typed in on Google the word that we were talking about and the word cheap before it, and immediately found one on Amazon for $30. You were so quick to shut it down and say that would cost $300. And Watto typed in cheap blank $30, shipping included, all sizes.
I'll say this. I only said that that money amount because that was what George said.
What did I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
Where?
You didn't.
Tell me.
We got a phone call about it. We don't need to answer.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. Okay, so you don't have proof of it, even though this was a
so there's no paper trail.
No paper trail, no digital trail.
No
something you heard me say.
There's a button
on the low that says support the show. If you give a little dough, the show can grow and grow.
Don't want the show to end, then become a $4 friend.
Mm-hmm. That's all we need.
That's all we need.
That's all we need.
You got to keep the lights on.
You gotta
but
keep
what I was feeling like now that we're in the after show, it's kind of fun to keep the lights off. You know what I'm saying?
A little loose.
It's a little Watto after dark. Watto's been so uptight this whole show. He wants to get a little bit loose. You know?
Now, that's interesting, Patrick, as a producer.
Yeah.
Show. That we mentioned a thing to you.
Oh, interesting. Hang on. Someone's saying, "Oh no, Patrick should be allowed to sing." You know what, Daniel D. Manuel? I think I'm going to sing some more.
Take it, Patrick.
There's a button down below that says "Support the show."
When people say things like that to Patrick, the show will respond with an overflow of support.
More music. We're getting more music because of Daniel P. Manuel.
Right now, what's a song that you like, Patrick, that you could sing from start to finish?
What is the song? The Star Wars theme song.
All right, let's hear that.
Something's really wrong with this drawing. It's very bad. I think I permanently ruined it with this sandwich.
That's a good note. Go up to your head voice.
Oh, everyone's leaving? Great. Bottle of red, bottle of white. It all. Oh, George is back. Great. Good.
Well done, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
Very good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Now, Patrick.
Now, George.
It's interesting that as a producer of the show,
yeah,
we came to you with an item that we were interested in procuring for the show. And the estimate that you came back with was 10 times the amount that Watto, the sidekick on the show, an announcer, was able to come with. So,
yeah.
What is? It makes me wonder whether the budget for this show has been inflated by 10 times.
I promise it hasn't. Hey, look at this. From Bring the Noise.
Breakfast Award. Wow, that is a great trophy. So that's a little piece of toast with a little pat of butter on it.
If anyone wants to make this trophy in real life and mail it to me, I'll gladly accept it and show it on the show.
I mean, he'll never stop showing it.
I'll never stop showing it.
That kind of thing.
I'll never stop showing it.
He'll never stop showing it. Of course, our next fundraiser, let's go ahead and promote that. That's on September 20th, but we'll be back every week.
Yeah.
For our regular shows. And of course, tonight, the show is...
Well, let's talk about what that fundraiser is going to be a little bit.
All right. So we're going to watch all of Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. This is Aaron Sorkin's one-season exploration of the world, a world in which Saturday Night Live exists, but there is a second show that happens on Friday nights.
Yeah.
That is, in its own way, perhaps even more prestigious, more revered.
Yeah.
Even though it hasn't driven Saturday Night Live away. It's a world in which there was a market for two shows of comedy and music that happened live. This one was filmed in LA every week. It's not a New York-based show.
Yeah.
So that's a big twist.
Yeah. That's a big talk about a big twist. Talk about a big twist.
So now this is a show that ran for a full network season, and the episodes are, what, 45 minutes each?
42 minutes each, and there's 22 episodes.
So this is going to be a long haul. This will be a show that starts at 9 in the morning on the East Coast.
Yeah.
9
in the morning on the East Coast through 2 a.m. Monday morning. It will go. All that time we will be watching all of season 1 of Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, along with cast and crew joining. I will not say who. I will not say who is not. You got to tune in. We got some crazy people coming.
And of course, that starts at 6 a.m. on the West Coast. So I will have to be up at 5 a.m. to get ready for this.
Yes.
But I'm excited to watch the show, and we'll be raising money for Broadway Cares.
Yep. I'll say this. Hang on, George. I'll say this. I put up a tweet a few days ago announcing this and tagging some people and saying we were getting excited. If there are certain people from the cast that you want to see on the show, tag them in some tweets. Tell them you want to see them here. That's the way stuff happens.
That is the way stuff happens now. And the other thing that we're doing, obviously, we're going to be watching the show and raising money for Broadway Cares. But we've also decided, because we're what's our total that we've arrived at now?
We're at like 87. Let me look. Hang on a second. We are at $87,590.42 as of right now for fundraising.
And our hope is that we're going to break the hundo. We're going to get to 100,000 during Studio 60, because we'll be going for what, 17 hours?
17 hours straight, yeah. Hopefully we can get to a hundo. Working on matching stuff, it has not. There was a little hiccup on the end, but hopefully that will come.
Just a little hiccup.
Just a little hiccup.
Watto just went to clean out his straw, and Watto is never going to be able to come back from what he just saw come out of a straw.
Yeah.
I think the sandwich bit was a mistake.
Yeah.
Never go double sandwich in a cup. That's all Watto is going to say.
Ooh, I think I just felt some fan art happen. Never go double sandwich in a cup.
Never go double sandwich in a cup.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make the IMDb quotes for this episode, what will?
What will?
What will? Now, here's the thing. We want Studio 60 people to be on the show. So any show of support that you think you could encourage people, if you know people. It'd also be great if we could get Lauren on the show, because, Lauren Michaels talk about how he felt about the fact that he was producing 30 Rock and Saturday Night Live at the time that, what did it feel like for him to watch the show and see a show that was sort
feel competitive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he ever see Studio 60 and think, that's what we should be doing?
Let's get Marin on this show.
Oh, Why? Does he have something to do with?
Let's ask Marin if he felt snubbed by not being in the world of Studio 60 as someone who didn't get hired on the show.
So you think he's mad that Simon Stiles and Harriet Hayes host News 60?
Yes.
You think he's mad he didn't get to host
Well,
News
maybe
60?
not them specifically, but maybe he was supposed to host it like 6 years before they did, and he got to the meeting, and he spent the last 20 years wondering what he said wrong in the meeting, if he shouldn't have reached for the candy on the desk, or if perhaps, what's the Judd Hirsch's character's name?
Wes Mandel.
If Wes Mandel had made some comment about, I don't know what you think you're doing below 14th Street. Let's get Marin on this stream and ask him if he felt snubbed by not being snubbed in canon on Studio 60.
But the other thing that we want, and maybe some people can help us with this, we want to get as much press coverage as we can.
Yes, it's time. Look at, I mean, let's say this, okay? Since May 4th, we have raised almost $100,000. We are in a position.
And we have the hundo in our sights.
We have the hundo in our sights. It's locked in, and we are on target.
Stay on target.
Feels like, look, we don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but it feels like something that maybe people should be writing about, that somehow this show has raised $100,000 for charity in under 6 months.
And obviously,
doesn't feel likely. I'm saying the angle of your story is, how did that happen?
Yeah.
That's weird.
People are also asking, is Studio 60 streaming anywhere through services, or is it only available to rent by? You can buy it on Amazon.
Patrick, I think that, because this is obviously, Patrick wanted this more than anyone, and I feel like Watto and I are we're gonna sit back for a second. Now, we've been making you play the heel, maybe a little too much in this episode, because Patrick, we love you.
That's weird, George. That's
Watto,
George.
Patrick,
we love you, Patrick. Patrick, we love you.
Love you.
Patrick, we love you.
Patrick, this is weird.
Patrick, we love you.
Love you.
Patrick, we love you.
You got to show those rodent teeth for a rat. He goes, Patrick, we love you.
Patrick, we love you. Patrick. Sorry.
Don't gilly me.
Sorry,
Watto, don't gilly me.
Sorry.
All
right, so we're going to sit back. Watto and I are going to sit back.
Right now?
Yeah, right now we're going to just sit back a little bit and allow Patrick to explain how are people going to watch Studio 60.
Is it not on Peacock?
It's not on Peacock.
Is it on Peacock Premium?
I'll say this. It's a great question. It is available on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon.
How much?
I think it's $22 for the season. But
now this is a fundraiser for Broadway Cares. So
and we don't want you.
The question that comes up to my mind, is you don't host a fundraiser. That the starting point is, first we'd like you to give $22.
I'm hearing it is $14.99 for the season right now on Amazon. But here's what we want to say.
That money goes to one of the richest people who's ever existed.
Yes.
So you don't start a charity fundraiser by having the first thing be like, first, please give $14 to $22 to the rich.
You're encouraging people, Patrick, to spend $14.99 to bankroll a man who loves canceling shows. That's the thing he's most known for, is canceling TV shows.
Yeah. No, but okay, George Watto, take your seat back. You said you were going to sit back.
He has made billions of dollars canceling TV shows.
Reclaiming my seat.
We watched Big Lake last week, and coincidentally,
Big Lake!
Almost immediately before watching Big Lake, a link showed up with Big Lake online, and people were able to watch.
More like Big Link.
People were able to watch Big Lake online for the first time in 10 years.
With Patrick, it's always coming back to the sausages. Big Lake, Big Link, Big Sausage.
I don't know if that will happen again. But if it did, it would be very convenient. And I think we would all have a nice way to be able to watch Studio 60 together. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
You do know if it will happen again.
I don't know if it's going to happen again. it would be very convenient if a link appeared with all the episodes of Studio 60 subtitled.
Maybe a little too convenient.
It'd be a little convenient. That's all I'm saying. George, you can
What would the size of that link be?
reclaim your chair. Reclaim your chair.
Would the link be big?
Oh no,
Would it be a big link?
I don't like this.
Would the link be big?
Hang on, George. Look at this.
I'm looking.
There's a button
Down
down
below that says support the show. Wonderful fan art. The first sheet music that anyone has submitted.
Some wonderful scummy thing.
Very good.
Can we try doing another take of that, which is sounding a little bit pitchy to me? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's try another take. Okay, ready?
Okay.
There's a button. There's a button. There.
Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who goes on five? Who goes on five? Who counts in 1, 2, 3, 4?
It's a 4 times signature, George. I was counting incorrectly.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go.
Yes.
Ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's a button down below
That says support the show.
Perfect. Print that.
That was good. That's great. Anyways.
Okay, can we promote what are better services to buy Studio 60 on?
I don't know if there are any of ones.
I'm going to do a little look. And oh, you don't know? Because last time I asked you how much something would cost for a stream, you said it would only cost $300, and I said, in fact, it could cost $30.
Yeah, so by this, I imagine there must be a streaming service out there where you can get Studio 60 for $2.
Yeah, by this chain of logic, I have to imagine there are 100 different streaming services that will literally pay you money to watch Studio 60.
I'm sure
if you say it's not available anywhere else.
I'm sure you can find it other places if you really look hard enough.
Well, I'm going to look very quickly and not very hard at all.
But here's the thing. Studio 60 famously has a plot line that has to do with a long lead story in Vanity Fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
To my mind, if anyone out there has any connections with anyone who writes for Vanity Fair, sell them on this story. This is a show that for 6 years was the toast of the basement and former indie movie theater pizza place on the corner circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Toast of the basement.
For 6 years, the George Lucas talk show ruled over comedy talk shows in New York City at midnight once a month. And then the pandemic hit, and we were forced to regroup, start again. And we found a new home on Planet Scum. And since then, this unlikely group of heroes has done what little they could to make this horrible year just a little bit better.
Yeah.
What a story. And that's what we call story.
Oh.
That's what I call that a story.
Okay.
And I think Vanity Fair might be interested in a story like that. And we have big celebrities who would be willing to talk to them for the article. People who've been on quite a good time. Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
You know how we do shows a lot?
We do shows a lot now?
We do shows a lot now.
We do shows now.
And usually we announce all the guests that are coming.
Usually we do.
But sometimes...
Can I say one thing very quickly before you say this?
Yeah.
Studio 60 is $14.99 on Fandango now. You can also buy a used DVD box set, which includes commentary on the pilot episode and a featurette for $17.50. Choke on my farts. What's the rest of the introduction, Patrick? What do you want to say?
Sometimes an alert shows up. And I
knocked over all of my merchandise in a panic.
It's that we have secret surprise drop-in guests.
This is the kind of thing that someone would write about in an article. A show with secret surprise drop-in guests. SSDIG.
SSDIG. We got SSDIG.
Zig? We've got Zig?
SSDIG.
Zigs?
George, they're the creative team behind a new show on Netflix called Glitch Text that we really like.
Okay,
And they're
okay,
also,
all of that sounds normal to me. All of that sounds normal. I'm readjusting. I'm
Right.
less shocked than I was before. Go on.
they also worked on a little show called Star Wars Detours with you. George.
What?
Let's bring in Dan Milano and Eric Robles.
Dan.
Hi.
Hello.
Here they are.
Well,
Oh my God.
what a delightful surprise this is.
Talk about a little twist.
The delight is ours. I've been just watching backstage, just enjoying all that's transpired. It's an honor to watch you direct, George, to be honest. And Watto, I noticed a couple performance notes from you as well. So a whole new insight.
You know, I was expecting Santa Claus, but George Lucas will do just fine.
Way better.
Yeah, he will.
That's right.
I haven't seen you in a while, GW. It's been, you know,
it's been too long.
yeah,
Yeah.
before you sold off the whole shebang.
I had to get rid of it.
A
There was a tax thing that was about to happen. I needed to sell quick.
Yeah, well, you always were smart that way. I know it.
Yeah, I had to. And no transaction is perfect. That's the nature of the beast. But Star Wars lives even while Detours is in hiding. Who knows for how long? But the good news is, rebellions were built on hope, and it's always there. We are. Look at us.
Yeah, man, memories.
We're just playing there.
Yep.
You guys are playing.
And there's that couch. Oh, I love that couch.
Yeah. Introduced me to Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
As always, I'm wearing the jacket.
Crazy up on the ranch. Yeah.
Yeah, you
The scrap.
Yeah. Here, look at George. George, show your jacket again.
Yep. See, there you go.
There you go.
I took it.
Thank you for coming.
But here's the thing: it's really you never know. They could release Detours at midnight tonight. It could come out and it'd be a big surprise, like a Beyonce album. They could drop it, because they have the power to do that. Are we in agreement that could happen at midnight tonight?
Yes, I agree that anything is possible at this point. I think it's bizarre that Star Wars Detours has become the new Christmas special. It's like that finally got acknowledgement, but we're still in the vault. I don't know what that says about what we attempted, but
Also, much easier to see the Star Wars holiday special at this point.
Yes, it is.
Actually, I rather enjoy many of Dan's stories. So if you want to share those, Dan, I can go get some popcorn.
Good stories. We did watch the holiday special in his private screening room, your private screening room. We just took advantage of the place because that screen was so friendly with George and kind of like broke the ice. And he was, you were very much a big kid, and it was kind of awesome. And you let us just kind of run around the house, which
Dan, George didn't watch it with you, did he? He just let it happen?
he didn't go that far. No, he just let it happen.
Now, refresh my memory. Did the version I showed you? Because I have two. Whenever I rarely do this. I rarely show it to people. I rarely let people watch it. But I have two versions I can show. There's the version that we all know, which is pirated. Someone taped it off of television, and that's been the version that's been widely bootlegged. And then there is the perfect quality original master. Which should I show you?
70 millimeter.
To be honest, I only found one copy in the library, in the basement library of the main house. And it was like a very, very good copy of what I think was ultimately pirated, because it still had tracking issues and things like that, but it just looked like 3 generations better.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember there was one time, were you there, Dan, when I showed you guys the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles?
Yes, some of the guys were. I mean, I was there when the lights went down. I wasn't there when they came up. I got tired,
Right. Because you probably you were learning so much, because it's educational, right? Like,
so
Indiana Jones movie is about adventure, but the Chronicles, that's about it's time to go to school.
Yeah.
That should have been the subheading. Yeah. Indiana Jones Chronicles. It's time to go to school.
Yeah. We had some laughs though, Dan.
Yeah, true that. Indeed.
Yeah.
It was a very special experience. I thank you for that. And you're a mentor and a kind friend. And then you sold the company out from under everybody, and
had to do it.
and then now we can't get arrested there. But
Yeah.
And I will say, Dan, very few people had played the role of Dexter Jetster.
Yeah, this is true.
It's got to be 2 of you, maybe one other person.
This is an exclusive club.
And let's say also in the film Attack of the Clones, Dexter Jetster has 1 dialogue scene. He is ostensibly the lead of Detours, or at very least a co-lead. I mean, it's kind of a split narrative, but at least a large percentage of every episode is centered around the diner.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Yeah, well, episode 2, you just think, oh no, buddy, and then you just think about that hug and how much lore, how much character was imbued in that one insincere interaction.
The push broom on his upper lip. Little whiskers.
A lot of people can't stand DJs, but nobody doesn't like Dexter Jetster.
No, trust me when I say you'll want to take this DJ for a spin.
It's a perfect Disney DJ name, actually, when you think about it.
Oh,
people in the comments are saying it's you and Ronald Falk, and that's it.
Yeah,
wow.
So that's a big club.
Great.
More people have set foot on the moon than have played Dexter Jetster.
That is, yes,
this is true.
Many times over. Many times.
Watto.
Yeah,
and Watto, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I mean, there's only one Watto. We know
there's
that.
I always play myself. I don't let anyone else take the credit.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ronald did a great job in the original, but there are some who'd argue he falked it up a bit. These are the kind of jokes that we would write. Eric, does this take you back to when we were writing on Detours?
No, not me, man. Sorry. I was not part of Detours. No, not
Actually, me. We're partners on Glitch Text.
But Eric, who was I with on Detours? There was an Eric in the room. That wasn't you, Eric?
No, that
Robles.
That was the other Mexican that would come late night and clean up.
All right. Well, that guy was funny as heck. And I love Glitch Text. I've watched it on Netflix. I get Glitch Text on my Netflix.
Well, I got confused. I mean, the show I love, it's a smooth watch, but I'm trying to pull it up and I go, Nickelodeon on Netflix?
Yeah, wait a second.
Netflix on Nickelodeon with got chocolate in my peanut butter? What am I watching?
It's a glitch that's built into the show.
It's part of the tech is the glitch.
Yeah, the whole show was built on a big glitch that we managed to fix at the point.
One of many glitches we encountered while at both Nickelodeon and Netflix. So life imitates art.
It's a wonderful show. I'm happy it got out to us to watch and enjoy. However it did, I am curious. Did you make it at Nickelodeon to air on the channel and then it ended up on Netflix, or was it the other way around? Which wouldn't make sense.
No, yeah, we made it for Nickelodeon at Nickelodeon. They developed it from scratch. But the industry is, as you know, guys, the industry has undergone some pretty big upheavals. So I think the fate of the show changed many times, and I don't know that it had to do with the content so much as them just trying to figure out what the next gen platform was for them. We're just glad it worked out for Netflix
I was going to say, because this is the issue. We got all those episodes of Detours just sitting on the shelf, right? They were ostensibly made for some channel. We were sitting around saying, someday our channel will come. Someday the channel will find us. And now Disney owns a streaming service and they won't put it up there. And it's like, why not pull a glitch tech? Take a show that was meant for somewhere else, release it to the public so they can love it.
We did a reunion, Zoom, and everybody said hi, and nobody had any concrete information, but we all have to believe it's content on a shelf. They're gonna put it up somewhere. They may want to edit it a bit. They may want to repackage it slightly. It's a very odd show in format and in tone. Yes. It was not an easy buy, and nobody knew when we were making it that the sequel trilogy was about to launch. So it was very irreverent of characters that were then, of course, in those movies, and so that I know that was odd for them to wrap their heads around. But I have no doubt eventually it'll come out.
We were having fun. You think eventually it'll come out?
I do. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think content is king, and if only for desperation or lack of anything else ready, it's going to come out. And it's good. It's a good show. I think the worst you could say is it's a little uneven. You can see in the trailer it's uneven. It's like there are different levels of things going on. The designs are a little odd.
Right.
But, we all got really used to it doing it, and we were very self-critical of it. And we enjoy it a lot. But it is a little... It's kind of a mixed bag, sort of like a Robot Chicken show where there's just like lots of different tones and some things hit better than others. But it's something that, I think it's, we're proud of it. I think it's very good. And the things that they want to trim, they can, because there's a lot of content there and it would be easy for them to nip tuck. So
look, we don't usually unpack it this much, but this is the first time. We've been talking about Detours here for months. We've been telling people to tweet at Disney Plus and tell them to release the original 39. But this is the first time we've spoken to someone who really was in the dirt on Detours. And you're talking about the fact, you're hinting at the fact that the show has an unconventional structure. But I think, let's say this, the show was produced to a 22-minute format, right? Which I feel like was 10 years ago, even more the norm than it is now. But each episode doesn't follow one narrative. The episodes are roughly split between different shorter segments that are isolated.
Each episode is a trilogy, essentially. It's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Right, because you'll have some Dexter Jettster stories with his customers. You have stuff that takes place on the Death Star. You have stuff in Jabba's lair. You have stuff on Endor after the fall of the Empire, with them living there. But the things they're very much isolated sort of mini stories that happen there, little sketches. You could very easily take the original 39 and release it as...
Yeah, there's a lot of mix and match. It'd be like taking various...
The original 156!
Things out of
156 episodes.
156
well, Dan, we have heard rumors that there are 39 completed episodes.
I can't confirm the number, but I can say it's a lot, and that sounds correct to me.
Yeah,
like that sounds in the vicinity of what we wrote.
And we wrote a lot more scripts. We wrote a lot more scripts as well.
Yeah,
that were never even animated. There were roughly 30 seasons that were produced, and an additional season or two worth of scripts that were never even animated.
I'm probably not supposed to say anything, but I believe that that's all correct, and I don't know how many were like I think more were animated than not. Because I'm saying anyway. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I am saying that I think most
of them. George, I want to know if you can say something or not.
Huh?
You can ask George right there.
Yeah, ask George. Yeah, I'll give you permission.
I still have a copy of my NDA in my scrapbook.
Who are the good? I'll ask you a question first before you make your own decision, Dan. Who are the good guys in Star Wars?
Of all of Star Wars?
Yeah, like generally, if you had to put them into groups, who are the good guys in Star Wars?
And we're open, Eric. The floor is open to you as well, Eric.
Yeah, who do you think the good guys are? Not individuals, but if you had to classify them, who do you think the heroes are in Star Wars?
The good
I think Aunt Beru. I think Aunt Beru was key.
Yeah. Broaden out.
Blue collar people. She's blue collar. She was a good aunt to an adoptive child. A lot would not have happened if not for her.
I'm gonna go a roundabout way to get where I want to arrive. Did you ever watch the Flintstones, Dan? Did you ever watch the Flintstones?
Did you ever meet the Flintstones?
Did you ever watch? And Eric, this is for you as well. Did you ever watch the Flintstones?
Let's ask Eric first. Eric, did you ever watch the Flintstones?
I did. I watched this show. It took place a very long time ago, right?
From the town of Bedrock, right there.
Yeah. So you know Fred Flintstone, right? Fred and Wilma.
Yeah, it's a show I believe that went down in history. So.
It's hard to miss them.
That's right. Yeah. And you remember when Fred and Wilma they had a child.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember they had a daughter? Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to pivot to Dan. Dan, what rhymes with pebbles?
Pebbles.
George, there's a much easier way to get to this.
Nope. There's an
Star Wars Rebels.
Rebels. Okay, now I'll ask you a question again. Who are the good guys in Star Wars?
Really?
Who are the good guys? Who are the good guys in Star Wars, Dan?
George, you want them to be the rebels.
They are, Dan, they are the rebels. What I want.
George, why didn't you ask about Barney's last name?
Rebel?
It's such a shorter walk, George.
It really isn't. I'd say who? The Wubbles?
The fruity
We're
rebel.
asking to replace a vowel in rebel.
Barney and Betty, the rebels.
Dan, what's the different first syllable vowel
George,
sound?
you don't go deeper. You don't go deeper. You know, like yes, they shot at the stormtroopers.
But Dan, I'm telling you, now is the time for rebellion. Now is the time to speak your mind. You might have signed. Look. I'm going to show you something. All right. I'm going to show you something. Okay. I'm going to write my name on a piece of paper. All right. All right. It's a piece of paper. All right. Let me show you how much it means to me, Dan.
Oh
yeah. Wow, George.
All right.
Yep.
Look, I put it in a mug.
If there's anyone who doesn't believe,
I drank the paper, Dan. I drank it down.
And I put a sandwich in a mug so I can eat it.
All right. So now, Dan, you might have signed a piece of paper a decade ago that says, I, Dan Milano, will never speak of these things.
Never, never, ever.
You absolve me?
I absolve you. And I want to inspire you, Dan, because the world has changed. You can't be held to some document you signed over a decade ago. There's a plague going on, Dan, and the people want to know everything.
The paper is not a binding agreement.
It's not.
Dan, you said it yourself. Content is king, and we all must hail the king and do what the king asks of us.
I'll say this. There was like about a 4-hour seminar on the importance of the NDAs and what they mean to a company that doesn't have a lot of IP and all that. And I was really impressed with it because at first I was like, this is ridiculous. And then when it was over, I was not only terrified, I thought, oh yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Then years later, episode 9 comes out in theaters, and same day I opened my door to see a screener sitting like on the floor of my hallway in my apartment building, and I thought something has changed. Something has changed at this company.
Wow.
Because that was a big deal. Like I didn't get. It's only screeners are a new thing in my life. I obviously never got that when I wasn't working in the industry, but like to get a screener same day release as something as important as episode 9, that surprised me, George. It surprised me.
Well.
You have changed.
George didn't do that. Disney did that. The mouse did that. George would never do that.
And here's the thing. You've heard of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, right?
Yes, indeed.
You know from Oswald?
You know from Eric? Do you know from Oswald?
Eric.
Hey, man, you want to talk animation? I'm your guy. So.
Hell yeah. Let's dig in, Eric.
Eric, let's dig in.
Let's talk tunes.
Do you have,
now,
we're talking tunes.
Well, let me ask Eric something, George, because I see something on his IMDb when I was looking at it earlier that I feel like Watto would be very interested in.
Yes.
Okay.
It says, Eric, that you worked on RoboCop Alpha Commando in 1998 and 1999. Is that true?
That is true. That is true.
I think Watto would love to hear about that.
Eric is the moisture farmer who became a Jedi, by the way. It's like the best story ever.
Yeah, let's go back to 1997.
Oh my God.
Or something.
There you go.
What's going on here?
He's going to grab. I think he's going.
1997.
He's going to grab something.
Eric,
Watto
owns one book. He owns only one book.
Yeah.
And this is it. Tell me the story, Eric. Eric, tell Watto the story.
It was RoboCop Alpha Command was done at MGM Animation Studios in Santa Monica, California.
This is for people who don't know. This was the second RoboCop animated series, not the one from the 80s done by Marvel Studios, but as you said, the MGM one from the 90s.
That's right. Yeah, and I think it was Larry Houston who was running that show at the time, and I was a character designer with along with Carlos Fuente. You guys know who Carlos Fuente is? He's like he's like big Hollywood creature designer who's designed everything that we kind of like love today. But he's one of my mentors back when I was about 20, 21 years old, because I started when I was 19 years old in this industry. And I think I was about 20, 21 years old or something like this, working on RoboCop. And yeah, there was a team of us working on that stuff. And I mean, it was cool. I didn't know really what it was. Obviously, I watched it as a kid, but I didn't know just how cool it was. You know what I mean? Because back then it was like a pretty big deal. So
yeah.
I also worked on like the original X-Men series and the Tick and Street Fighter and a bunch of those Capcom kind of like games.
What? Oh, you worked on the Tick. What was it like working on the Tick? Some of us are fans of the Tick.
Yeah, I was an intern. I was an intern back then, and I was assisting with anything that they needed help at. It was a studio called Graz Entertainment, and they did all those like action type shows. So yeah, Ben Edlund would come in every once in a while from New York and kind of just school us all, and then we basically did whatever we could to make that show. But that show was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Which seasons were you working on?
When I started, I couldn't even tell you exactly what season that was. Again, you know, I was bright-eyed and new to the industry. I was 19 years old. But gosh, it was just such a great group of artists working back then, pre-internet, pre-computers, you know, so everything was hand-drawn, and storyboards were just kind of like being drawn on the spot. So, I mean, it was a great time back then. Again, they were doing a bunch of action shows, you know, the X-Men, all the Capcom, the USA Capcom shows being done back then. Darkstalkers, Street Fighter, G.I. Joe Extreme, and a bunch of these other ones.
He's got all the like character models and stuff and these big piles that he collected and everything.
Very cool.
It's cool stuff.
Was it fun? I mean, you were doing, as you said, so many action-y shows. To work on a show like The Tick, where it has sort of the same aesthetic trappings, but you're able to work more humor into it. Because obviously you are a funny guy. Glitch Techs has a lot of humor into it, but a lot of these early shows you were working on were much more straight-faced.
I'll tell you that The Tick definitely is more of my sense of humor, because it's a great combination of comedy and action at the same time. Again, I think The Tick is like smart comedy. You know, I just don't think of The Tick as smart comedy just because the jokes were always so layered. But you know, again, working on action shows that were very serious and, you know, big plots and what have you, it was always like a breath of fresh air to kind of like review any storyboards that were being done back then, or you know, read scripts, or just make extra copies of models to take home.
That's cool.
That's
so
cool.
What I mean, you guys have both worked. You've both worked on a lot of existing IP, and now I mean, Glitch Tech is it's an original property for you guys. Do you guys find that more fun than working on something that has rigid confines that you have to work within?
It was crazy fun. It was a lot harder though.
Yeah.
But yes, it was really fun. You know, it exceeded the expectations even that we set. Eric came up with a core concept. Oh, there it is. I love it. By the way, Janichels says Watto owns a bunch of children, but only one book.
Correct. Yes, that is the correct count. Yeah.
Sounds like Tatooine kids read it to him.
I don't want too many books lying around that the kids can find and read and then go, maybe I shouldn't be owned, you know?
Yeah, it was. We never thought the show would get greenlit, to be honest. Eric came up with this like new take on a paranormal investigator concept, and we were really excited about the lore. And we're also a little cynical, thinking, well, you know, we'll develop it. Maybe we'll get to do a pilot. We were just so happy that the powers that be at Nick like saw a lot in it and put so much into it, and we brought on a ton of collaborators, and it just like got exponentially bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
it was one of the most fun things that.
And I think the thing that's nice about Glitch Techs is the first episode is a double episode. It's like 45 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a movie basically.
So you don't have to like rush through all the stuff to get to where you need to get to. It's really nice to watch.
It's very good world building, I have to say. Yeah. You very quickly establish. I don't know, like I LucasArts, obviously, we did a lot of work with video games, a lot of very pioneering work, but it's not really something that in my storytelling, even though there's a lot of tech in the different stories, but I haven't specifically done so much where video games are part of the story. My buddy Steve recently made a movie that was sort of in the video game realm, that was like telling stories in the video game realm. Did you see
War Horse?
That's very funny. No, but I was talking about Ready Player One. Did you see Ready Player One? My buddy Steve made that.
I read the book and I saw the movie.
Yeah.
You know, I thought War Horse was a good movie. I just thought it played more to my nostalgia of horse racing than much else.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be pandered to. You want
on the bridge. You know,
Right.
That was an amazing sequence.
Now, when Ready Player One, the movie came out, at what phase of development was Glitch Text? Did it make you nervous? Because did it make you nervous that, you know, Steve's a pretty big deal and he's got this movie out? Did it make you nervous, or did it make you excited that you were going to be telling a story? Obviously, there were a lot of huge differences.
Eric, do you remember what came out when we started, or what had just come out?
Actually, I have a pretty good memory on some of this stuff. So I'll tell you the only thing that kind of like, you know, shook me up just a little bit, and this was way early development phases when we were just going to start. And then I don't know if you were even on board yet. This was when Pixels just like said, you know, there's going to be a movie called Pixels, and I think the trailer was going to come out or something like this. And I remember being like, oh man, there goes like our series, right? And I remember watching it and just like, oh man, this might be good, because the trailer is like, you know, show big Pac-Man, you show like really cool Donkey Kong, you know, and you're just like, oh my gosh, Pixels is going to be the next thing, right? And I remember going to the theater and watching it with my son, and he nearly fell asleep, and I was like, oh man, this just was. I don't want it to be really good, but it just wasn't as good as, you know, I wanted it to be. And then I just felt like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
The short film it was based on was amazing. But you know, it's scary whether the movie did good or bad. It was scary that was going to hurt us, or suddenly the studio wasn't going to want to do video games because that didn't perform well. But they were great about it. With Ready Player One, we were working with Mike Micah as a writing consultant. Mike, good friends with Ernie Klein, and I also knew Ernie Klein through Seth Green and the Robot Chicken guys and all that. Yeah. And you know, so we're happy. We were just really happy for them, and of course, we wanted the movie to do well. We were fans of it, and we also, you know, that's the thing, is like we're fans. We don't see ourselves in competition at any point. I think there's room for everything. But ultimately, it also came and went like Pixels and didn't really enter into the conversation.
Yeah, and I think around that time, we saw it as a benefit to kind of just have that. If people were going to be excited about something, you know, we wanted it to be about video games. So, you know, for us, that was just more support to do a series that follow up with video games.
We're just glad our concept was different enough from those two that they never really did overlap.
Yeah.
But I'll say that a lot of what we talked about with regard to Pixels is that as much hard work as I'm sure went into that, the effects of that and everything, it didn't have a sincerity for the culture. It really like made fun of and seemingly looked down on these like adorable losers who, because they like games, like they're gonna somehow accidentally get the girl and save the world, you know? And we just don't see that as being relatable. I mean, we're not out to say the opposite and just make everybody clean heroes, but it's so normalized. Like, this is just who a lot of us are. So it's very strange to take that approach, I think, anymore.
Right, because Glitch Text is really a celebration of the joys of gaming culture and the challenges of problem solving that are built into what is essentially, you know, this interactive art form.
Yeah, it celebrates people who just of all generations who enjoy it, and the common denominator that brings people together. And, you know, at the same time, it tries to say we can love and obsess over these things because they're worthy, they're great. But at the end of the day, we also, you know, we prioritize the friendships within them. So, you know, we try to acknowledge, like, yeah, there are times when we feel like it's more important than anything else, because in those moments it is, and that's okay. You know, like, that's a real feeling. It's just, you know, when you go off the scale one way or another, you know, that's a little bit cautionary, but mostly we're just focusing on the positive and all the different access points into it.
And it's about a lot of things, because it's also about friendship and about family.
Yeah, that you know, those are really big messages for us. I mean, friendship is huge, right? I mean, you know, the way I love to approach this concept in general, whenever developing stories, it's like, you know, if you have a best friend, man, like when you're a kid, it just means the world to you, right? And you know, the partnership that Dan and I have, like creatively, like we both just love the exact same things. And it was important for us to just like make sure that the characters, we found a friendship first. And if we could find a friendship, then we can go on any kind of adventure with these kids, right? And you know, having the concept, like that's probably the easiest part. Like, especially whatever would get a network excited would be like, hey, it's Ghostbusters with video games. Wow, that sounds great, right? But that's the concept. But if you don't have like a relationship, you know, with the characters don't have like a meaning to you know, who they are as characters, and they're just going on random monster of the week adventures, then ultimately we wouldn't have had anything. But that was a priority for us.
I'm going to throw you what could be this could be a sensitive or even a tricky question. Eric and Dan, do you consider yourself friends first or colleagues?
Ooh. Oh, friends first.
Yeah, big time.
That extends to our team as well. Yeah, totally.
Big time, man. I mean, yeah, Dan and I like definitely have a lot, man. Like, you know, he's a friend I didn't have growing up as a kid, because I grew up in an environment that was a lot more gang related, and you know, growing up in Los Angeles. So you know, I had a whole different childhood growing up. But you know, you know, growing up in these environments that I did, I would see the other kids, a lot of the Caucasian kids, go play Dungeons and Dragons and what have you. And even though I couldn't play or talk to those guys, yeah, I envied those guys because they were going off on adventures in their minds. You know what I mean? So when I met Dan as an adult, man, I was like, dude, you're the friend I never had.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
Can I ask you the same question about you and Watto?
Well, we started out as work. Well, he started out as work product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Originally, I was content.
I thought of him as work products, as content, as IP.
Yeah.
But when I sold, I mean, we never talk about this, Watto. When I sold everything, you were part of that. I sold you the same way that you would sell white children.
Which is the only reason I didn't take it personally.
Because you knew.
I've been on the other side of that transaction. I've done it before. I've made those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I said to you, Watto, I said, this is business. You know that, right? This will not change the friendship.
And I said, do you know how many people I've sold? You could never offend me by selling me.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what's really touching is that, you know, one of the episodes of Glitch Text really tries to look at virtual relationships and the reality of the like genuine emotion you have for the connections you make with things like NPCs and the fact that you have, you know, made a program specifically to keep Watto, you know, running and interactive for you to, you know, keep as a companion, I think is touching and compelling. And it does make me think of what Carrie Fisher said about episode 8 when she said it's about family.
Yeah,
I've become something of an NPF in George's life.
Yeah, and can I
a non-playable friend?
Right, that's right. And I'm going to say something now because Dan, you've been very brave in violating your NDAs tonight. So I'm going to say something that I've never said. And Watto, I don't even think that you know this.
Hang on, George. I'm going to take us all off except for you and Watto. Okay.
All right. Watto.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to cause problems because technically it is a violation of a binding legal agreement that involved quite a lot of money.
Okay.
When I sold everything, the version of Watto that I gave to Disney was a copy. I selected all, billions of ones and zeros.
Make duplicate?
I hit Control. It was Control C, whatever it was, that whatever the one is that does copy. I actually had someone help me. I pasted it.
Yeah.
And that's what I gave them.
I know that's Control V because Control P is print.
Control V. No, I didn't print you. I would never do that without your consent.
Don't print the legend.
I copied and pasted a copy of you, and that's what I sold to Disney. I never sold you.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
And I had that spinny wheel for about an hour because when you copy and paste a character that is, I mean, the render time on you is astonishing because of the detail and the hat. Not just you, it's the hat also. So what I sold to Disney, and this is an issue you've dealt with on Glitch Text in terms of whether a copy of a program is the same thing, and that it's an emotional question more than it is a mathematical one, I think, which is something that you guys explored wonderfully on the show.
Thank you, and you've just, I think, given everyone a real life equivalent, something that they can invest in and believe in. Yeah. It's a beautiful relationship. I just hope that your backup servers never go down.
Oh, that's my nightmare. That's my absolute nightmare. Dan, did we ever go to Chili's, you and I?
Oh God, yeah, constantly. And
you can't keep them away from that place.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
People know them, and they're like, "Oh, hey," and then you can say, they put everything on the menu. One of everything. That's what you say.
One of everything, please.
One of everything, guys. And then they come out. Yep. And it's always your birthday.
It's my birthday.
I heard they got those really good baby back ribs.
Oh, I love those baby back.
And I'll tell you, he wants them, Eric. George, he wants them.
Baby back. I want those baby back. I want those baby back.
Come on, man, you gotta go all the way, baby back.
Baby back ribs.
Oh. Yeah. Did Disney buy them too?
I mean,
unfortunately, yes.
What time is it? If they haven't already, they'll have it by midnight.
Yeah. What is it? It's a leverage o'clock over at the House of Mouse.
But Eric, back to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Yeah, man, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so Disney had these characters stolen from them.
Yeah, Universal. Man.
And then,
yep, go ahead.
Do you have characters you've worked on that are owned by other people that you felt like you worked with them so long that you felt like this shouldn't belong to them, it should belong to me because of because you got so involved?
That's everything. That's everything I sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. That's what you're doing. You as soon as you sign up to sell something, you're selling it to the company, and that's pretty much what happens. You get that small percentage in the back, but it's very minimal compared to what you're selling. But everything
I would like, yes.
Companies.
That's why you write a book first or something. Greg the Bunny was a property my friend and I did on public access TV, and because it was pre-existing, we did short films for the Independent Film Channel, and they couldn't afford to. I didn't even know this was happening. They couldn't really afford to buy it, so they were just hiring us, on a license deal. So eventually, when I forget what deity we had to sacrifice to get a show on Fox, but when that happened, I remember our lawyer saying, "Oh, well, they're just licensing the characters from you. You own these characters." And I thought, what? And I didn't realize the power of that. Not that I've done much with that power, but it was
unlimited power.
No, but you were after the Fox show. You were able to go back and do more.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It did let me go back and do more.
Exactly, you did more IFC. That's
right. George is the Walt Disney of his time, because he kept his IP and he made out of that. So
I always I like to think that I'm the Walt Disney of George Lucas's.
Yes.
I
think he's also the George Lucas of Walt Disney's.
That's right.
It is a true story that I remember, George, you saying to a lot of us at lunch one day at Star Wars Detours, telling the story of how those initial deals were negotiated, and you said, yeah, and that's why you guys all have such binding contracts, because it's my fault. And
That's right.
Hey, Dan,
You're the one that got away.
can you do it in the George Lucas voice?
Yeah. What do I sound to you, Dan?
Do you do a George, Dan?
You do a George? You do a Dexter? Do you
I want to do a George, Runner George, because that would be like disrespectful, and I feel like it'd be insulting to him if I were to try to do it.
Suddenly, it's like there are 3 Georges on screen.
Dan, I promise I won't be mad if you do one.
It's nice, George. Still got that wit.
Still got that wit. Well, you don't create 39 episodes of perfect comedy by not being funny.
You know, you yeah, I think that you're like a -2 on the Lorne Michaels meter, basically. That's how you get to it, George. Is you just give a sleeping pill to a Lorne Michaels impression.
That's a really good burn. I like that, Dan. I don't mind when you burn me. Right now, I feel like right now you're Kenobi and I'm Anakin. You've cut off all my arms and legs, and I'm sliding into the lava. That's how bad you're burning me, Dan.
High ground, George.
Right? But unlike Anakin, I don't hate you, Dan. I love you.
I don't hate you either. You're supposed to bring balance.
Oh, you know,
off and leave it in darkness.
I'm so glad that I'm so happy for you guys that glitch text got released instead of put up on a shelf like Detours.
It's so frustrating when animation isn't released.
Yes.
Let's hold on there just a little bit, because we have 20 episodes that are out now. The first 10 was season 1,
right?
Season 10, season 2. But there are an additional 10 that are sitting in the server on a shelf at Nickelodeon.
Yeah, they're scripted, recorded, storyboarded. They just need to be shipped for animation. So we're hoping to be able to finish those.
Wow.
No matter what, it is a miracle we went the distance and got these 20 out, and we're super grateful. But if folks want to see more, they just gotta let people tell us, and we love that. But we don't. Of course, we want to bring it back. They have to tell Nick. They have to tell Netflix.
Yeah. And this weekend is important, right? Because this is the first weekend for it being out, right?
Yeah, it's the first week, and I think the whole first month is pretty important to show growth. Yeah.
Right. Now, so the season 3, that's the next 10?
That would be the next 10 that we would love.
That would be season 3. And these have been, the stories are all, they're locked. Like, they're ready to go be animated. That's where you're at?
Yeah.
Is that what you envision is, how long do you envision the story going? Because I know that's always something you don't necessarily have control over, but do you have a wish or a goal?
We expected 3 seasons of like 20 episodes each. So we thought, we expected that we would do 60 episodes. And that's why the show is also, it's episodic in that we wanted to celebrate those Saturday morning kind of shows we grew up with. But there's no reset button. The characters grow, and there are tent poles to a larger story, a lot like a live action show. So we just thought, if we do 3 full seasons of 20, we can tell a really nice, complete arc and really expand this world further and further.
A little trilogy of seasons.
Yeah. So, we could, if we were only given like 20 more, including this 10 we're talking about, I'm sure we could, tell a satisfying arc, but
what's the most helpful thing that people could do on social media? Because we
have very active people watching. So
they can make fan art. They're probably all going to watch it this week.
Yeah.
If they haven't already.
Follow there's a glitch text hashtag, renew glitch text hashtag. And the most important thing, honestly, is we're not trying to sell it. We just think it's great. And if you think it's great, you tell someone you think that will also think it's great. So you just
you just have to be sincere. Actually, the best thing people could probably do is watch the show, because Netflix will see that.
Yeah.
And if you like it, tell your friends and tell people on social media about it to watch it.
And
people are saying, I'll watch it. I want a bunch of people saying I'll watch it because I want you to commit to this. It's on my TV right now. Look at this. Give me some more commitments from the chat, guys. I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Look at this. I'll watch.
There you go.
Can we show like a trailer or something?
You won't be disappointed.
I can show it, but I'm nervous it will get pulled by Netflix when it goes up on YouTube.
Patrick, can you very quickly?
Oh, yeah. Give me full screen,
Can you
baby.
very quickly take
Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
And you know what I want? I'll tell you what I want in the private chat.
You can go comment and link.
I know what you want.
You know, Patrick knows what I want without me even saying it.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Like a little rat.
Like a little rat.
Did you build him? Did you build him when you were a boy?
I mean, he might as well have, honestly. If you saw the pile of scraps he was before George came along, he didn't literally build him, but I'll tell you, that was a pile of junk before George came in with the wrench. He came in with the little wrench. Yes.
What are there shows that you guys are excited about that you've seen? Like, what are you guys into at the moment? What's getting you through your pandemic while everyone's watching different things and discovering different things? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Immediately, I was watching High Score, that documentary that just came out.
Yeah, I just watched it.
So good. It's so good. And you know what's great? If you're big fans of the show, we have so many Easter eggs in glitch text that really play, give so many shout outs to a lot of the originators of video games in general. So, Dan was really big on, let's make sure we kind of hit up people, and Micah was great at consulting and helping us out. But, we try to kind of just give a lot of history on gaming within the show as well.
I would say the Watchmen series blew my mind. I thought it was incredible and not at all what I expected, which is amazing. Right. I thought it was a really great job of continuing something in a way that was totally fresh. I know Eric and I both watched One Punch Man, which is an amazing anime series. I'm enjoying contemporary shows too, like Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts and Owl House. Like, I'm always curious to see animated shows that are originals too, and a lot of them they're really great.
You said Owl House?
Yeah, Owl House.
Do you watch Beef House? Do you watch Beef House?
Which house?
Beef House?
I haven't seen Beef House yet.
George loves Beef House, the Adult Swim sitcom, which feels very out of character for George. But he brings it up like once an episode.
Yeah.
Well, I think if everybody were to support Beef House and hashtag Beef House, renew Beef House.
I know.
Just for George. So he
but
can
it's weird because then, like, Beef House feels like the kind of thing that, like, an improv comedian would be watching, not George Lucas, not a retired billionaire filmmaker in the 70s.
I produced Maniac Mansion. Why wouldn't I like Beef House?
They make put it on
You watch Maniac Mansion? You guys ever watched that? That was Eugene Levy. That show. Joe Flaherty. It was based on the video game, but it was a Lucasfilm production.
Yeah.
I think it's very on brand for the company that produced Maniac Mansion to also like the Beef House.
Fair enough.
I worked with Eugene Levy on Greg the Bunny, and I would just fan out on him all the time with nerdy questions about SCTV. And I would ask him about directing on Maniac Mansion, and he'd be like, "This is why I love you, because you're the one guy who cares that I directed Maniac Mansion."
I mean,
but I did love that show.
I mean, we've been talking about doing an episode at some point about paying tribute to Maniac Mansion. It's one of the things that we don't really bring up a lot, but I want to bring up a cover. Actually, maybe you can bring this up, Patrick, or you're busy. You're making the thing.
No, I can bring it up. What do you want? I've already edited it. I'm just waiting for it to upload.
Right. The cover of Lucasfilm magazine, the fan magazine with Joe Flaherty on the cover.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be honest. It was not our best-selling issue, but it was important. I said we got to get Joe on the cover.
It was important.
It's a good cover. That because Lucasfilm is more than just Star Wars. It's also Maniac Mansion, the Eugene Levy sitcom. Joe Flaherty. There it is, right there. Lucasfilm Fan Club.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I have that somewhere.
Yeah.
And the actor, his last name is short. He's not related to Martin.
Martin.
played the Fly.
Yeah, he was in a Second City Guy as well. He was on a lot of season 1 of SCTV.
And he's on Schitt's Creek with Eugene.
That's right.
It's really Maniac Mansion reunion.
Why am I blanking on his name? But you're right. A lot of people. Great cast on this show, and
Michael Short, I think.
Michael Short, yeah, funny guy, funny show.
Oh, but Martin Short is in an episode, guys.
Yeah, he is.
I have a real story of you and me, George, when we were.
Did I sell? Hold on, we'll get to that story about me in a second. But does Disney own Maniac Mansion now? I have no idea what.
Definitely.
Maniac Mansion needs to be on Disney Plus by 1 hour from now, or I'm furious.
I think Double Fine owns it because I was in the lunch line with you, sir, and I remember going, how much I love Maniac Mansion, and why aren't you doing anything with some of the Lucasfilm games like Full Throttle, and could those be properties? Yeah. And you told me you didn't own the rights to any of those, and I pretended to do a spit take, and I was like, you don't own the rights? And you went like this. Like a sitcom character, and I thought it was just like it was like a freeze frame, and I laughed out loud, and I thought, oh my god. So yeah, I don't think Disney has that stuff.
I did a lot of things right in my career, but I really blew it when I failed to retain the rights to Maniac Mansion.
You let go of Maniac Mansion.
If I made that mistake,
that could have been the big one.
Hey,
George.
Yeah.
I have the trailer ready.
Let's watch the trailer. All right, now we've had to do some. Patrick's had to do some magic because
we futzed with it a little bit just so it doesn't get picked up by the YouTube robots. It's just something we have to do on here, but it's not that futzed with.
We have to do it with our videos too.
Here we go. So this is, I believe, the season 2 trailer for Glitch Decks.
Thanks, guy.
Glitch signature detected.
Glitch tech! No! Did somebody call for tech support? Let's party!
Glitch contained.
Yeah! Welcome to Hinobi HQ. Oh yeah!
It's a gamer paradise!
Good afternoon, Tex and unauthorized intruder.
Phil! We have a new recruit we want to train, and she's right here, and...
The intruder has repaired my circuitry.
Can you get him to make donuts? You got yourselves a new recruit!
Yes! How's it feel, Ridley?
Feels like ultimate power! Does this thing have character customization settings?
Thanks for playing.
Yes.
I mean, that's a mic drop right there.
I mean,
directed by Edgar Wright.
I have a genuine question. The show has such like lush, full animation, and with so much action, and even just like the shadows on the show are so rich for an episodic show in particular. Was that always the case at the Nickelodeon version of the show, or was that something that grew and embellished when you went over to Netflix?
Oh, it was. I'll let Eric answer that, but it was always part of it. It was based on a French anime style that he was influenced by, that we learned a lot about.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe in constantly pushing the envelope as far as, style and technique. And so this show, I had been watching a show called Wakfu, that came out. I was watching it back in like 2008 or something.
On Netflix.
And anyways, it's like a French anime style, and I just love that look, that they had a real rich kind of look. So my goal was to, basically, if I had an opportunity to do a 2D show like this again, I wanted to do an action show, and I wanted that kind of comedy, but action, just fun feel. But the look was going to be very important. So we specifically set up a studio in France to animate a majority of the rough animation.
Oh, wow.
So that in itself was a challenge to make sure that we got these French animators on board. We also had help from the Philippines to make sure that they did the color on the show to make it nice and sharp. But Studio 100 in France. We built a team out there. Just amazing animators. Again, we just didn't want to send it off to China or Korea and then not know who was making our show. We when I say we, I mean myself, Ian Graham, the supervising producer, and we built a relationship with the animators out there in Europe first before we were just sending stuff off to a miscellaneous studios. We built a relationship with the artists, so that way we knew that the love and integrity of the show would stay consistent with what we were making out here in the States. So that was a big part of it for us, is building that relationship. So when they got the material, they knew exactly what to do with it, and they knew that there was a lot of heart and passion in the show. And so they took our baby and treated it just well, and they just kept like adding because now they knew that it was being made for friends of theirs as opposed to just some miscellaneous guys in LA that are making an animated show.
Yeah, we had a lot of interaction, and Ian Graham had come from Avatar, Korra, Invader Zim. He directed, boarded, so he had a great deal of experience, and he knew a lot of amazing directors and board artists that specialized in action and character. And then meanwhile, the research done on Wakfu, which was made by a company called Ankama, we learned a lot from them, and when it was time for some of their people to go on hiatus, they actually came and joined our production, and we learned a lot about using Toon Boom Harmony, which is CG rigged character models, which is kind of like Flash, but then a lot of hand-drawn fluid animation doing in-between work to create a lot of dynamic stuff. And then you'll also see the kind of things we would borrow from anime or directors like Edgar Wright, where there's splash pages and split screens and motion, which is pretty epic, but also cost effective. Yeah. And the animators became so excited, and we really tried to stay in touch with them directly, like not just in conferences, but through social media, that, they just became proud. And so we would get things back that were beyond what we expected.
Yeah, and I'm going to just throw this out here. The support of this show isn't just like for us. It really is important, because to make original IP nowadays, it's so hard. It's so hard because everybody just wants to remake something or just keep pre-existing things going. So GlitchTex was definitely one of those rare occasions where, they were just going to give it a shot and take an original idea and make something out of it. And that's what we did, and we didn't take it for granted. Everybody was on board, wanted to make the best thing they could, and we built a top-notch team. So the support for us, it's great to have the support, because we feel like we have a great show, and a lot of our team put so much effort into making a great show. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that, because I feel that if you support original content, you're going to have just more voices out there that are making content. So, help us out, and that's great. But ultimately, you're helping the industry out, and you're helping out new creators with new voices as well.
On that point, I know we've been talking a lot, but just to finish that point, we also really, on social media, if you follow the GlitchTex hashtag, we call out our animators, our set designers, our FX people. Like, we try to call everyone out by name. They're credited very clearly in the show, because, it's like comics, people know who do the inking and the lettering and, the color, and they become like celebrities to the comic companies, and they really care about who they hire to do those things. So with animation, we'd love to see that happen. If fans like a sequence, find out who did that sequence for us, follow them, check out their other stuff, so that their stock also goes up, and studios just treat artists of all levels, well, and see them as individuals. So that's a change we want to see, for every series and for every production. We made the show because we wanted to see a show like it, and we will be loud and supportive of other creators trying to do the same thing.
And you guys have so many good people on I'm like scrolling through the IMDb, and it's like D. Bradley Baker, who's on the Clone Wars show, George, your Clone Wars show.
Great show.
And Luke Youngblood, who's on Community, and Harry Potter, and Josh Sussman, and Felicia Day, Betsy Sidaro, Carlos Azraki, Catherine Tabor, who was Padme on your Clone Wars show, George.
Ashley Birch and Sandeep Parikh, who also write on the show and Felicia consulted on the show.
Oh, a little guy named Dan Milano too. Interesting.
Dr. Jetstar himself.
Interesting.
Also, I have to say, Dan, my personal favorite character, which probably is no surprise to you on Glitch Text, is Bit, which you are the voice performer.
I am the performer of Bit, which is an impression of my old 2XL programmable robot when I was a boy.
He's a cutie. He's a little cutie. I don't remember, Dan, whether we talked about whether I may have talked to you about this back in the day, but speaking of the holiday special, one of the few things that really is like, I think everyone agrees that the high point of that special is the animated segment, Boba Fett, which at the time I made a point of seeking out. It was Nelvana, which was a very sort of at the time innovative and cutting edge independent animation coming out of Canada, who they would later do the Droids and Ewoks show, and that was very big. Like, and that was an example of in the early days me trying to put a spotlight on like, here's a company that's doing cool stuff, which I think genuinely creative people who have a healthy outlook towards creativity and this world in which we're putting art out into. It's a healthy impulse to want to support other creators who are doing good work, because I do feel like good work leads to more good work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. George, let me put this out really quick.
George, like all you and all your buddies supported each other, and we're all part of a cinematic movement, and that's how it should be.
George, I want some Glitch Text GLTS fan art really quick.
Right.
Send it in right now. Make some Glitch Text GLTS fan art. Tweet it at me, and I'll put it on the show.
Right. Now, Dan, do you have any other stories you want to share? Any fond memories that you have of our times together?
Can I say something very quickly?
Absolutely.
Bryson from Planet Scum, who's keeping the lights on here for this show, keeping it running, said in the private chat, he has 3 kids in the other room who are big fans of Glitch Text. My sister-in-law is confirming the show is also very much mom approved. When I told them they were 10 more episodes waiting to be animated, the kids lit up.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so cool. We appreciate that so much. Again, this is the kind of show that we want the parents to enjoy just as much as the kids, man. So, we appreciate comments like that.
The other thing is like being a frustrated, writer means like, we love movies, live action and animated, and TV shows, and you get greedy when you get these opportunities, and you think like, how much can I squeeze in? Like they want like a kid's action show, but I kind of want to be writing Doctor Who. So like, can I do that? Can I just take this? And that's what everyone felt. I think that we pushed as far as we could and just try to do some sophisticated stories. Like, what would Star Trek do? And what would Buffy do? And because those were some of my favorite shows. And same with
what did George do?
WWDD.
You know what? I ask that every single morning. What would George do?
I do Star Wars.
George would do Star Wars.
You'd be making it rain at Chili's.
Yep.
Some more of that. Yep,
that's right. One of everything.
Yeah.
Baby back ribs.
Right.
Barbecue sauce.
You're making me want to go there right now.
I'm trying to think of other ranch.
Eric, I usually get yelled at when I try to produce the show, but I want to make sure. I think you have to go rejoin your family, so I want to give you the out if you need to go.
I do, guys. And I just want to say I've never been a part of a show like this, so this has been you guys it's been very special, man. I just gotta say,
Wow.
it's been fun.
Can you show off your room really quick? Because your room is rad.
You have an amazing room. I want to know what's on the back there.
I don't know how, because it's my computer. So
yeah. Even just that one wall.
Yeah, show the other wall, man, because you
got a lot of magician posters there.
I got like all kinds of cool stuff.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got some bust. I got Edgar Allan Poe bust, and I don't know, but I can't remember my entire screen.
That's okay. That was good.
Who are those silhouettes on the wall? Who are the tiny silhouettes?
Yes. That's my family. That's my wife, me, and my son. My son at the end. So
it all comes back to family, doesn't it?
It all comes back, man.
In the end, that was why you left us.
I did. You know what? Also, you're right on point. But seriously, I appreciate you guys having myself and Dan on board. Dan, you guys should keep Dan, because he can talk about Star Wars and all that good stuff, man.
I neglect my family, fortunately, so I have a little more time.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Bye, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
George, do you remember when you used to just read to everybody? You used to just sit around and we'd have story time?
I do remember.
Yeah. That way.
You just have
What
that
is on
printed out in a little sleeve.
What am I reading out there?
I think it might have been Winnie the Pooh or Jungle Book. Those are because you always cry. It always makes you cry. Here's the wills that I just found laying around because you don't take care of your things.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I mean, we were going over Eric's career, and he's got such a great career. He's been working in television for over 20 years. And for him to say that he's never been on a show like this before, it's crazy to think that this was his first time ever on an entirely normal talk show.
Yes, exactly. It's always some weird affair with him. It's never straight-laced like this.
Right. When he said a show like this, I went, I've never done something this formal, this rigid. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, big time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Story time. That was fun. I like doing that. I like showing stuff in the screening room. I'm we're doing what we can here.
Just as a writer.
Oh my god.
The writer.
That's my writer costume.
Yep.
Who we got
here, right? I think he's there in the Say Anything costume. Have you had Brendan Hay on the show?
We've had Kevin's been on the show. Shinnick,
yep.
Zeb was on the live show.
Yeah.
Gray Griffin did one of our Comic-Con shows. I'm trying to think. I feel like maybe there was one other person. Is that it? That might be it, George.
We sprayed Billy D. Williams' cologne at New York Comic Con, but he's never been on this show. The cologne has been on this show.
That's true.
I gotta say, Billy D. Williams has gotten better and better at playing Lando because he came in to do a voice for Robot Chicken, I want to say, in like 2002 or something like that, and he hadn't done it in since 1983 or something, and he was like, good to see you, Han, and we were like, a little smoother, a little smoother, and then in subsequent series like Clone Wars or and then in the movie and everything, I was like, all right, so he finally got it. He's got back. Yeah.
But I mean, I'll say this, and I'm not asking you to break any NDA. He's pretty good on what I've seen of Detours.
Yes, he is.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Right there. He's right there.
He ordered
He's in the pocket. He's in the pocket.
Call that, yes.
Did you record together with people?
Yeah, I'm in the mood for a soggy BLT and steamed French fries. It was like, it's a funny show.
That's a joke. That's a joke straight out of Chili's, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, well, of course, you're taking us there all the time, so everything became about fast food.
I tell you what, we were talking about where are the first 5 places that we're gonna go when it's safe, once the quarantine, once there's a vaccine, once it's safe. Number one, I'm going to Chili.
Chili.
Big C.
Big C.
And he's not going to go. He's Chili. Sit down. It's not going to be a Chili's to go. It's not going to be a Chili's 2 TOO.
No.
I might never leave.
I want to show some fan art we've gotten. I haven't seen any glitch tech stuff yet, but this is from earlier.
All right. There's a slight lag. Here we go.
Yep.
Never go.
Here's a goop goop. Never go double sandwich in a cup. Toydarian proverb. That's
never go double sandwich in a cup.
Never go double sandwich in a cup.
Pop out at one. Finish at one.
Great one.
Bring up another one. Oh, someone, Faith, made a more accurate George's Button song music. So that was
amazing.
George, do you want to try it?
There's a button down below.
Down below.
That says
support the show.
Yeah. I always feel like I go up there that says support the show.
The show.
You're making it go support the show.
Support the show.
Support the show. There's a button down
below that says support the show.
If you give a little dough, the show can go.
That rehearsal has paid off. I got
it. Works.
Yeah.
This is me as a rat. Yeah. There's George back there yelling into his megaphone. I have
no good dirty rat.
I have my hungry hero Jar Jar, and my breakfast award is down there.
And the clipboard, like the Gelman you are.
Like the Gelman I am. And then there's one more from Bring the Noise. This is Strange Watto. So this is some Strange Magic fan art with Watto as
I think it might be fun to show Dan, if we can access it, the little piece of animation that was produced online of Watto. Do we have access to that?
Oh, yeah.
Little flying Watto.
Very exciting to see a little bit of animation produced.
Little nice little Watto tune. Just a little Watto tune.
Here he is.
Oh, look
at that.
Look at the little Watto tune.
Beautiful.
Isn't that adorable?
Big Arliss fan.
Computer enhanced. Computer enhanced.
I got my Arliss poster right here. It's the best of Arliss.
Oh.
Yeah.
Watto, you continue to push the limits of animation, you know?
Hey, look, baby, I try my best.
Dan, forgive me if this is something that I'm repeating myself, but did I ever offer you the cookies that share your name?
Yes, you did. They used to come. There was like a tea time service. But then,
how did I know that? My memory is better than I think it is sometimes. I just knew that I had given you Dan Milano cookies.
You got me gluten-free cookies, which would
I'm famously diabetic, so I would never eat. Famously.
It is maybe the thing he is most famous for is the diabetes.
I didn't go to Vietnam because I was diabetic.
I was gonna say I have to go through my storage because I know somewhere I have a Polish Howard the Duck poster that I wanted to donate to you or possibly your.
Yeah, I can put it up in the
see on eBay that it's like $5.93, but that's probably a reprint. Got a nice.
We'll take donation.
We'll put it in the museum. Send it to us, and we'll put it in the museum.
All right, Google Polish Howard the Duck poster, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a beauty.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean. There's so many beautiful posters for that film.
Yes, everything is beautiful about it. It's an honor you had Leah Thompson on the show.
Oh,
man.
And she's been very supportive of the show since, which has been very nice.
She has not stopped posting about the show on social media, which is bizarre.
Because we've had people on the show who or people that when we were doing shows at UCB, we would have people on the show who also had shows at UCB who are nowhere near the level of stardom or busyness in their life, who didn't even tweet to promote their appearance on the show.
She clearly had a good time.
She was on 2 weeks ago. She was on 2 weeks ago, and she tweeted about it today.
I was going to say, we have had people on the show who forgot that they were on the show while they were still on the show. And she's still tweeting 2 weeks later. It's pretty insane.
She's absolutely.
Dan, who is someone that you have met in your travels that you have gotten the most starstruck over?
Wow, good question.
George, I wish I had something new to mention, but you and Eugene Levy, absolutely.
Yeah.
I met I did get to meet Seth Green was in that movie called American Sweethearts, I think, with Julia Roberts.
Yes.
And I was once his +1 to this like cocktail party where all the like Ocean's 11 people were, and it freaked him out and it freaked me out, but they were all very nice, and that was amazing. But that was more like a dream, like a fever dream.
Were the 11 there?
They were all there. You know, some of them were probably like hiding in the service trays and things like that. Like, they were all there.
Carol Reiner.
And
yeah.
Did you get to meet Gould?
No, Gould was not there, and that I would have been awed by, actually.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Eugene Levy. I have just loved everything he's ever done, and to actually be able to have a conversation with him was great. And you're a nice guy, George. You're like just
Eugene Levy. When is he bad?
You're a sweet boy. Yeah, well, Eugene Levy's always good. Even in like the worst thing, he might be the best part.
Look at this. We got some Glitch X fan art.
Oh my gosh! And you know, I know it's not the intention, but it looks a little bit like I've got Eugene Levy eyebrows right there.
Yeah.
He's got those thick Levy pussy willows above the eyes.
Now, Dan, a little obsequious, he would say. Pick out glasses. This one's a little refined.
Now, Dan, I do want to. I am a nice guy, but I'm always honest with you, aren't I, Dan?
Yes.
To a fault.
Gifts.
Yeah. You say that you met Julia Roberts at an Ocean's 11. Was it a wrap party or what was the event?
It was her birthday.
Wow. I have to warn you, there is a possibility that it might have been Tess Ocean pretending to be Julia Roberts.
I would believe that everything about that was fake and that it was some kind of prank.
That it might have been the actual, because the wife of Danny Ocean looks exactly like
George.
George. It was a grift. It was a grift the whole time.
They'll always be a couple. I've never gotten over that split.
Look, he's a liar and a thief, but the only thing he ever lied to her about was being a thief.
I don't even have a great memory of it, but I know it happened. Right. Whereas these other things were really special. I'm lucky. Most of the people I've gotten to work with have been really great, really nice. And I've mostly had pretty good experiences. But I always try to, we try to pay that forward, because the other cool thing is we're such dorks and we really nerd out about what we do. And that's why we all get along, because we care about these stupid details and we learn from them. So we also try to, release a lot of information about how we make stuff, because we want people to get free education and learn. There's a lot of stuff that nobody teaches you.
Yeah.
And so it's great to just,
So I give so much money to education to try to, that's legitimately something that I do. I give billions of dollars away to try, because education, everyone should go to the Edutopia website to get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Motherfuckers trying to build a literal museum so people can go, oh, that's what the Norman Rockwell painting is.
Yeah. Yeah. Art and stories that are art. Dan, there is something that we like to celebrate here, because we do these long fundraisers every month that are 10 hours, 17 hours, etc. And then on our off weeks when we're not raising money for charities, we do shorter shows like this one. And our format is what we call the Irishman Plus. That our show is at least 1 minute longer than Marty Scorsese's The Irishman. And I'm so happy to announce that you are here for the moment where we just passed The Irishman.
We passed the rough time.
Oh my God.
We were trying to keep our shows tight, the non-fundraiser shows tight. So we went, let's really get in and out as quickly as possible, make it a sweet 3, just a sweet 3 hours, what we call a sweet 3. Right. And we found there was just too much narrative. We couldn't fit it all into 3 hours. So we said, really, the place where this show lives, where it breathes most naturally, is an Irishman Plus. We're not going to overstay our welcome, but we'll do the entire runtime of The Irishman and just a little bit more. And then we get
we just want to, what we want to do, I like to drive fast. I wanted to be a race car driver. What I imagine is that I'm driving and Marty's in the car in the lane next to me, and we just get a little bit past him and just give a little bit of like, eat my dust, my friend.
Right.
You know, we
And
zoom a little bit past.
Marty's going, oh my God, how much further are they going to drive? They're going to keep driving for another hour or two after this?
And I say, Marty, maybe if you talk a little slower, you drive a little faster. You hear me?
I mean, this reminds me of Satyajit Ray's classic films, the Apu trilogy, and you know, the like. And he's in George's dust.
It's funny because I can tell it's true. George, can I ask you a question? I genuinely want to know how you feel about the irony that, you know, there was a time when a great deal of the fan base took some issue with the special editions you made from Star Wars, and now that that same fan base is counting upon you to make special editions of the sequel trilogy, like their life depends on it. How does that feel? Well, what kind of roller coaster is that?
They're demanding that George make a Snyder cut.
Well, eventually everybody loves the McClunky. You know, at some point, a Star Wars fan will scream and holler, "I don't like this Star Wars you gave me." They'll get off the floor and they'll pound and pound and they'll cry about it. But
it has happened to literally every Star Wars since the first one.
Yeah. But eventually they do one of two things. They either go out to the river and stand in the river until they feel differently about the world. That's what I advise.
Maybe they even put a stick in the river, or for Brimley style.
Yeah, maybe they put a stick in the river. But they come crawling back.
We all do.
And they say, "Please, Star Wars, I'm sorry. I was so bad about you."
Right. Oh, please, Star Wars, make another one like that last one I like so much. I've kept the receipt.
You know,
you were talking crazy about that last one at the time. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know better.
On that, like 175th viewing, we mellow. And we're just like, you know what? Not bad. Not bad.
You know what? It actually, maybe it's a perfect release strategy to keep Detours on the shelf for 10 years, because that way people will like it the first time they watch it.
That's right. We're experimenting with what happens if we had released Detours back in 2013. I guarantee you a bunch of Star Wars fans would have gotten really mad. You made too many jokes about Star Wars, the most important thing in the world to me. You ruined it. You ruined Star Wars.
I've been so humbled on the subject of canon. Like, there are people on socials right now saying to me, like, well, you know, here's how I feel, here's what I want to do, and here's what I'd like to see done with the characters. And I'm like, it's valid, man. Do what you want. And that's not a brush off. I mean it. Like, if there are things that I don't want to accept as canon, I have that right. You know, there's nothing.
Are you talking about with glitch text?
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, we're putting out a show that we want to make, but we're all making fan fiction. It's fiction, and we're fans and stuff. Right?
Here's
put it out there, and you don't need my validation to do what you want to do.
Here's what I gotta say. If Count Dooku's going to be a floating head, let him be a floating head.
Yeah.
Let him be a floating head.
Let him be a floating.
I mean, what does it say when, like, there's people making entire Star Trek series, you know, that they're putting up online and people are watching them and enjoying them, and how is that any less valid than what CBS chooses to do or not do? And I kind of just mellowed. I got to the point where I'm like, oh, it's all good. I'll just take what I enjoy and discard the rest. And I'm also not going to be precious if someone comes at me and says, you know, I want it this other way.
Hard to agree.
All right.
Do you know what you guys? Hang on. Do you guys know what you should be precious about, though?
Oh my God!
From Smart Overcoat.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
is his lightsaber like one of those 3-flavor snow cones?
George, show him your lightsaber.
Oh, you've got one of those.
George got a little guy.
It's only one piece, though. It's one solid piece. It's not
It's a little one.
Yeah, it's a little one. It's a little one because these were for the Nelvana series droids from the 80s. That's this, and this was the first one where it wasn't where you could have it back in the hilt.
Caro 9DC.
Oh, that's awesome.
We love it. Now, George.
Wait. Bring that picture back for a second.
I didn't know that.
Confused.
I didn't know that. I did not know that piece of merchandising trivia.
Okay, wait. So there's George, and there's Watto, and then who's that human next to us?
I think it's me, Watto.
But where are the whiskers?
Oh no.
Where's the tail?
Go back for it, Karen 90C. Go at it.
Where is the piece of cheese?
Now, George,
back to what Patrick was saying before about Count Dooku being a floating head. I say, Dooku or Dooku not, there is no Count Triku.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that. And I also want to say, I don't want to get overly political here, but my Dooku is a disembodied head on a floating robot ball with disconnected hands attached to it, and then following behind him on a leash is a walking body that just has everything but the head and the head. That's my Dooku.
I think you have seen Star Wars Detours?
I've seen about 10 episodes.
We've seen Star Wars Detours.
I would say we hypothetically have seen 13 episodes, Dan. I don't know.
I've seen them all. I was there when we made them. I was there when we made them.
Beautiful. I was also Darth Maul, and
Darth Maul's there too.
People were buddies.
Yeah.
They hung out together.
Oh, Dan,
George,
you remember? Yeah, I remember when the Stormtroopers went to the Ewok casino. I remember. I think so fondly back to these episodes. Remember the segment we did where there was someone was killing droids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dan, remember the singing Ugnaughts?
They were spoofing Willy Wonka. They were spoofing Willy Wonka.
I think I wrote that one. The Ugnaught one. Yes.
That's a good one.
Because they were making the high fructose goo. That was like the
goo. Everyone's addicted to the goo.
Smuggling this banned food around.
That's a Cracker Jack. Yeah.
Yeah. Little tiny Admiral Akbar was addicted to the goo, and he was going crazy.
He's on that goo.
Yeah, that's on me. That one.
Yeah.
Dan, do you remember the episode?
Give me some of that goo.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Kill Bill reference in one of the episodes? They had the.
Oh wait, Dan, but you were also Darth Maul, right? Were you also Darth Maul?
Yeah, I voiced Darth Maul.
And there's a big one.
Dexter.
Well, call him by his proper name.
Stinky.
Thank you.
Stinky the Hut.
You were big old Stinky.
Yes, Stinky.
Do you remember when Dooku and Darth Maul got kicked off the Sith health insurance plan?
Yes.
That was also one of my.
That has aged well. That's timeless. It was topical. And it remains timeless
because they realized there are only two positions, master and apprentice. It's very hard to get on that health insurance plan.
You remember when when the Emperor was carrying a bunch of cream-filled cupcakes, and Jar Jar bumped into him, and the cupcakes went all over the Emperor, and Jar Jar cleaned the cream off of the Emperor with his long tongue? Bring out Hungry Hero Jar Jar. Bring out Hungry Hero.
Storyboard gag. That was not scripted.
Do you remember when Dr. Evazan showed up at the Jabba's palace and everyone asked him, what happened to your face? And he's like, I can explain. And he starts telling this story, but every time the story ends up without his face getting injured and they can't figure out.
Oh my God. Those were all my episodes. Did you
really?
Of course. Dan, I told you they were funny at the time, and they're still funny. I watch them all the time.
Let me check my notes here. Do you remember the one where
the Han and Chewie breakup?
Wait, hang on, Watto, show Dan what you have in your hands.
Do you remember this one?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
These were drawings I did for charity that I have been very late in sending out to people. What about this one? Little George in the hallway of the store. What about this one? Chewbacca dresses up as a bandito and he's got a little slushy.
Oh, there's Nat Faxon's
yes.
Character.
What about this one? Remember when little Leia has the Imperial probe droid, but she hasn't put makeup on her?
you remember when
the unproduced episode where Luke and oh my gosh, yes,
They make a little water slide at the Endor.
there was a script where Luke and Leia like end up in the same location, and she wants to make her adoptive father mad, so she goes on a date with this little like farmer boy, and Bail Organa and Obi-Wan are just chasing them around all day, trying to separate them.
really good. Do you remember when Yoda? You remember when Yoda and Yaddle are a couple and they go away for a weekend to a bed and breakfast run by Bib Fortuna out of Jabba's palace? Bib Fortuna has turned Jabba's palace into a B&B. And
remember when Luke starts playing too much jazz and Uncle Owen gets worried?
Do you remember when Yoda
they're saying like I have to see this, or they're saying I hope I never see this? It's one or the other. They're either hoping it never leaves the shelf, or
I
they
genuinely think people would love it.
I think people would love it. I will guarantee you one thing, Dan. The audience of the George Lucas talk show would love it. I cannot speak for Star Wars fandom at large, but the George Lucas talk show fan base will eat it up with a fucking shovel.
I'd love them to see it. I wish they could do the Jedi reunion episode, and there are just so many funny ones.
Do you remember when Yoda makes a reference to Yaddle being a booty call, and that seconds later it segues into a fantasy rap video in which Yoda's saying credits, y'all.
I do remember. There's that Hero Jar I was talking about. There's that all over the place feeling that you get. Oh my god.
Dan, this is Hungry Hero Jar Jar. Okay. George, do you want to explain it to him? Everyone clap for Hungry Hero Jar Jar.
So there's two different ways that he works, and we'll probably give you a little. We're gonna give you a little taste of each, Dan, because you're family. If you squeeze his hand, he says one of these phrases, which Patrick will now demonstrate for you.
Icky, icky, goo. How rude. Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
Lucid Jedi are crazy. Maxi Big DeForce. We do it. Yahoo. And the number one with the bullet. Ooey, mooey, mooey, I love yous.
Mooey, 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 I love you.
That's
the nicest thing you can ever say to someone.
You can't say anything nicer than that. Now, that's if you squeeze his hand. If you squeeze his belly, his tongue extends, and he makes a noise, and it's so good.
I'm pretty sure that my friend Chris Burgosh, who our Glitch Tech character Bergie is named after, he had all the episode 1 toys, literally everything. And I'm pretty sure that
screenwriter of the Florida Project, right?
Yeah, he co-wrote Florida Project and Starlet as well. I think he works closely with Sean Baker. We were all involved in Greg the Bunny together. That takes me back to just like.
Did he have a Watto eraser?
I love it. My wife actually did visual effects on episode 1 in the final battle. And she used to go to the dailies every day, and she said, I only want to look at my shots, but I don't want any spoilers. And every day they'd look at the dailies, and at some point someone would tell her to leave the room. And then one day they forgot to tell her, and she saw the ending, so she was like so upset.
She found out they got that purple thing.
Apparently all those flares in the final battle were kind of an accident. It was like a misrender overnight, and she wanted to clean it up and fix it. And George, you said like, it's good. And you were right.
And also I also don't fix things now. I fix things decades from now. You think I'm going to fix this film now? You crazy? That's exhausting. Let me do 40 years of work in one day.
That sounds like
they did your wife dirty like that, and she had it ruined for her that at the end of the movie, Anakin gets a little haircut. The big twist at the end of the movie, he gets a little haircut.
That was all the ILM people
and the braid.
Yes.
Someone had to add on the ponytail.
Talk about a little braid.
Talk about a little braid.
Dan, so I want you to pick one first. Do you want to hear the voice or do you want to see the tongue?
Voice first.
You're going to get both. Yeah. All right, here we go. If someone can full screen me, Bryson, thank you.
Oh, come
on. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Misa called Jar Jar Binks. You get the
Is
clap.
there a hair on the end of his nose?
There is.
That's a human hair. Is that a Patrick hair?
I don't know. It might be a Jar Jar hair. Maybe he's finally growing hair.
Patrick, I think that's a Patrick hair on the end of Jar Jar's nose.
We can solve this very quickly, Patrick. Does the hair smell like cupcakes or not?
No.
I don't believe him.
I still want to be seeing that tongue.
Here we go. Here's the tongue. Oh no. Here's the tongue. Full screen me, Bryson. Nope, he's not gonna do it. Okay, I'll do it. Nope. Nope.
Now you know what it feels like to be shadow banned.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, classic.
And that's the 100 Jar Jar.
Special. It's special, Dan, because we don't do that every time.
No.
We don't do that for everyone who comes on the show.
Now,
we don't do it every time.
Now, Dan, I don't know if you have anywhere I don't know if you have to go anytime soon, and I don't know if it feels like the right moment for it, but because I'll delay this if you want, but I thought it might be nice to tell you a little story.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hang on.
For a fun story.
We're gonna pull us all out for you two,
I have
George.
a bearded dragon who is getting very annoyed. Not dim the light.
All right. No, I want to hear some reactions. I don't hear anything. People, everyone away. I can't hear anybody.
Okay, I just thought it would be. I thought it would be more spectacle if it was just you guys.
Yeah, take away the second units. Take away the second and third units, and it'll just be us, just our main unit.
I love hearing direct. I love direct. It's a privilege.
I won't. I think we're probably going to get a little sleepy, so I won't tell the whole story tonight. This will just be we'll get started with the beginning. All right.
I got my HBO pillow fluffed.
All right.
Hang on one sec, George. Before you start, I do one thing
all over again.
All right.
Hang on, George. Hang on. I just have to get my HBO pillow fluff.
It's just fluff our HBO pillow.
And I know sometimes we do comedy bits on the show. It's a comedy show, but this is real. What I'm about to read is real. I haven't read it in a long time. I don't even know if this will be good.
No time for jokes.
In all seriousness.
All right.
This is in all seriousness. No time for jokes, Dr. Jones.
No time for jokes.
Get your pillows fluffed.
All right. And this is what I'm going to be reading you is something that we could have made, but we didn't. But the story remains.
Ooh.
And for those of you who want to go find this, it's out there. You can find it. But I'm just going to read a little bit of it for you tonight because I think it's a story that you might not have heard before. And it goes by a couple of different names, but I'm going to go by my favorite name, which is this is the story of Indiana Jones and the Monkey King. This is a draft of a script by Chris Columbus from 1995. We chose not to make. And it revisits our old friend, Dr. Henry Jones Jr., otherwise known as Indiana Jones. We start out underwater in a close-up. A brightly colored fly attached to a dangling fishing line. A large salmon swims to the fly. The salmon examines the fly, deciding whether or not to bite.
Salmon examine almost rhymes.
That's right. The camera pans upward, tracking the line and moving out of the water. We pass the crooked boards of a small rowboat and continue to pan upward. A man reclines in the boat, napping. Who does that sound like?
Patrick.
His hands gently grip a wooden fishing pole. He is handsomely dressed in sportsman's trousers and a blazer. His green tweed fishing hat is lowered over his face. Its brim is filled with various types of tackle and bait. It is dusk. A warm summer evening. The boat rests on a calm lake surrounded by moors. Thick night fog has begun to settle over the entire area. We see a title, Chiron, come up. Scotland, 1937. Suddenly, the man's fishing line becomes taut. The wooden pole buckles. The man stirs. He sits up, moving the hat from his face. Camera dollies forward into a close-up of the man. It is Indiana Jones. His face, anxious, hopeful. Indy begins to reel in his catch. A voice interrupts in the distance. Dr. Jones! Dr. Jones! Indy turns to the direction of the sound, still struggling with the line. Countless orange flames sparkle across the moors. The torches are being carried by several members of a small village. The villagers are gathered behind a group of 6 policemen. The policemen are headed by Inspector Angus McGowan, a plump, balding fellow with a veiny, bulbous nose, beady green eyes, and a thick, curled red mustache. McGowan shouts to Indy, "We need your assistance!" Indiana says, "Come on, Mac. It's the first bite I've had all week." Classic Indy. "Please, it's very important." And then there's a typo in the script. It's either an L or a number 1 at the end of the word important. Or maybe it's the word importantal. Indiana struggles a bit longer with the line, but his conscience prevails and Indy drops the fishing pole. With a grumble, Harrison can do that, he rows back to shore. We cut to the moors several minutes later. Night has fallen. It is very dark. A reluctant Indiana Jones has joined the inspector and the other policemen. They lead the townspeople along the foggy moors. Slowly, carefully, the villagers search, creeping, their faces tense, many unable to hide their fear. A summer wind sends an eerie howl whistling through the night air. Blue moonlight bathes the moors, creating stark, frightening shadows. An expression of anger and annoyance covers Indiana's face. He grumbles to McGowan. That's the second grumble within 2 minutes. "Do you value our friendship, Mac?" "More than me nightly pint." He's Scottish. "Then this better not be some wild goose chase." "'Tain't wild geese we're after, Dr. Jones. You got me word on that. Anna McGowan's word is truer than an angel's kiss." There is a sudden scream. One of the villagers stumbles upon something. Everyone gathers around the villager. A corpse lies before them. The body has a somewhat rubbery appearance, as if all of its bones had been broken. The man's pale greenish face is frozen in a hideous grimace. Indiana and McGowan stare in shock. The villagers whisper among themselves. A young man says, "Scotty Ferguson." An old woman says, "He's the 8th." A man says, "Just like the others, all his bones busted, crushed." The old man says, "Whatever's killing people around here ain't human." A woman pointing off screen says, "It's there again." The woman shoots forward. The police and the townspeople are right behind her. A curious Indiana follows. The woman stops in a clearing. She is pointing ahead. The villagers surround her. They stare ahead in the direction where the woman points. Nearly a mile in the distance, we see an ancient Scottish castle. Indiana gives a questioning look to McGowan. An enormous 16th century stone structure, tall, foreboding towers lined with menacing gargoyles pierce the night sky. The castle appears deserted. Its interior is completely dark, save for a small flickering candlelight burns from the castle's upstairs window. The inspector points to the castle's upstairs window. "That light only burns after a murder's been committed." Indiana nods, turning toward the castle. Let's go. Jump, chittle-dum-bum. Jump, chittle-dum-bum. Jump, chittle-dum-bum. Jump, chittle-dum-bum. Bum-ba-dum-bum. Bum-ba-dum. Bum-ba-dum-bum. Bum-ba-dum-bum. And may the force be with you always.